Welcome to the PNN Podcast. The Personal News Network is your source for meaningful stories, ideas, and accounts of what it means to be alive on this planet. You can visit us at podcast.pnn.com or send us an email, podcast@pnn.com. Ever wonder what it's like to sail around the world? How about sailing alone around the world? Today's story is about Donna Lange, former nurse and mother of 3 turned sailor. After 20 years of marriage, Donna and her husband separated, and Donna went back to work as a nurse. But her story is very different from other women. Donna was involved in a car crash in which many of her friends were killed, and this event changed Donna's life. She could not go on as she had planned. She began to question many of the things people often take for granted: her beliefs, her job, what her purpose was on this planet. She ended up taking a job aboard a luxury passenger ship as a chef. The sea fascinated Donna, and soon she was making short sails on her own. Eventually, in 2005, Donna set out to sail solo around the world. She's due to complete her journey in April, where she will return to Rhode Island. Today, Donna comes to us from Cape Horn via satellite phone to share with us a small part of her adventure, in which she is alone, but in no way lonely.
What I've had to go through to get to sea has been monumental. Once I've gotten to sea, I'm really ready to be here and to connect with the sea. I'm a kind of a spiritual person that likes the connection. That kind of connection that you get with the people that you're with is very important to me in my life. Crossing the North Atlantic when I left Rhode Island a year and a half ago in November, the way I feel out here is very difficult to explain, I think, to somebody how it has felt being my person, who I am as a human being, having felt very lonely all my life, even though I've been surrounded by people always, kind people. My husband is a lovely man, though we didn't have that connection and much of a relationship. And interestingly enough, I've come to the ocean, and in the midst of the ocean, being all by myself alone, I feel a very deep connection. I believe that the ocean is very conscious. She's a very alive, very personal being, and I am very well connected to her when I'm out here. That's where I live, and that's where my peace comes from out here.
I imagine what it must be like for Donna, or anyone sailing alone. For those who've never sailed, it's hard to understand what it means to be utterly alone. In a place where you can't even go to the supermarket if you run out of eggs or drinking water. Then, Donna started talking about the storms.
Typically, the South Atlantic Ocean as a whole is a place where there are no gales. You have what they would consider trade wind patterns of wind, and you have a lot of high spaces where there's very little wind. So once I get up along and I get away from the coast of Brazil and Uruguay, and get up and around the bulge, I should be into the South Atlantic system. So I'm looking to much warmer weather, less gale force weather, but maybe more frustrated weather in the sense that I have less wind. And another very key thing is that you start to get what big squalls. So a big part of big storms is dealing with the effects of the seas. So part of it is a big amount of anticipation that there's a storm coming. When I went around Cape Hope, that was the biggest seas I've ever done. They were just massive 60-foot seas. They were just apartment buildings. And it was like being out hiking and seeing a mountain. Over the course of tonight, the winds are going to kick up to 35 to 45 knots. It's going to kick up a sea state that's very big and choppy, and it bashes into the boat. The boat is moving so incredibly violently that when waves crash into a boat this size, it moves and shoves the boat sideways. Even in the gentler times on the boat never stops moving, and the G-forces never stop affecting your body. I describe it as being on the worst amusement park ride you can imagine, one of the ones that actually makes you move in circles. The only way I can have the peace that I have is that I've rebuilt this boat, and I know that this boat is a tank. I have come to the understanding that I can be hit by, I can feel like bombs are going off on the outside of my boat day and night, and that my boat's not going to break. Water's not going to get in, and as long as water doesn't get in my boat, I'm safe and sound.
That's it for today's show. We'll hear more from Donna later on in our series. For now, you can read more on our website, www.pnn.com. We would like to thank Donna Lange for being the guest on our show, and also Lauren Elliott, founder of PNN, for obtaining Donna's story. PNN Podcast was edited by Jennifer Jacobson, with technical advice from Adam Schmidt. Tune in next week for more of PNN Podcasts. Until then, we'll see you online.